People in the small town of Riverbend used to say that when Adamma smiled, something bad happened to somebody. They said her smile was like the calm surface of a deep river that hid secrets, fears, and things better left at the bottom. Children whispered stories about her. Women avoided her eyes. Even strong men crossed the street when they saw her coming. And yet, she was only a landlady. A landlady with a heart as cold as a harmattan night. Adamma battened on the biggest compound in Riverbend, a large white building with green roofs, built long ago by her grandfather. She inherited it after her parents died in a strange accident nobody ever understood. Adamma lived alone in the main house, while tenants stayed in the long row of rooms beside it. She controlled everything: rent, rules, water, even the way people greeted each other. When she walked past, people folded their hands like children facing a school teacher. On the morning our story begins, the sun came out bright and soft. Birds called from the trees. The scent of roasted corn floated through the air. People were preparing for market day. But none of that sweetness mattered, because the moment Adamma stepped out of her house, carrying her long brown cane, the entire compound became silent. She wore a long white dress, and her black hair fell down her back like a shadow. Her eyes were sharp, too sharp for comfort, and her steps were slow but firm, as though the ground respected her. She stopped in the middle of the compound. "You." She pointed the cane at Mr. Doyle, a short man with red hair. "Your rent is due today. If I don't get it before sunset, you and your things are outside." Mr. Doyle swallowed hard. He was a carpenter with a gentle heart, but business had been slow, and he had only half of the money. "Madam, please, I will pay tomorrow morning. I promise." "Tomorrow morning?" Adamma raised one eyebrow. "Tomorrow morning is only good for people who want trouble." She turned the cane and tapped it on the ground. A small cloud of dust rose, as if the earth itself responded to her anger. Mr. Doyle bowed his head in shame. "I will try, ma'am. Try harder. This is not a charity ground." She walked away slowly, her cane tapping the floor in a frightening rhythm. Tap, tap, tap. Every sound was a warning. People continued with their day, but their spirits were low. They could feel trouble waiting in the air. And trouble arrived soon. Later that afternoon, a new family entered the compound: a mother, a father, and a little girl. Their names were Nora, Henry, and 7-year-old Lily. They had just moved from another town after Henry lost his job. They were white like the rest of Riverbend, but that did nothing to protect them from the stories of the wicked landlady. As soon as they stepped inside the compound, Lily felt a strange chill. "Mama," she whispered, holding her mother's hand. "Why does this place feel sad?" Her mother smiled gently. "It's just a new place, my love. You will get used to it." But Lily wasn't convinced. Her bright blue eyes slowly traced the compound. She saw dark corners. She saw cracks on the wall. She saw old broken furniture piled behind the washing area. Then she saw Adamma. The landlady stood at the top of the steps, staring down at them. Her eyes were cold. Her face had no warmth. But she smiled. A slow, strange smile. "Welcome, new tenants," she said, though her voice did not sound welcoming. "I am Adamma, the landlady. Follow me." Nora and Henry thanked her and followed her inside the rental office. Lily stayed behind with her small school bag, staring at the dark doorway where the landlady had just disappeared. She felt something watching her. Something inside the walls. Something that did not want her here. Meanwhile, inside the office, Adamma examined the family with slow, calculated eyes. "Where are you from?" she asked. "Clover Valley," Nora replied. "We moved because..." Adamma raised her hand for silence. "I don't need your life story. Just pay your rent on time, Keep your child quiet, and don't ever enter the backyard after sunset. Henry frowned. Why not? Adamma ignored his question. She pushed a rusty key across the table. This is your room. Make sure you don't disturb me. I don't like noise. I don't like questions. And I don't like trouble. Henry nodded quickly. Understood. Good. Adamma stood. Her cane struck the tile. Tap. Her eyes flashed with something dark. Enjoy your stay. That evening, after they settled into their new room, Lily sat on the bed hugging her stuffed rabbit. Mama, I heard something in the walls. Her mother touched her forehead. Maybe it was a rat, dear. No, Mama. It said my name. Nora froze. Lily continued in a whisper. Something is inside the house. And it doesn't want us here. Before Nora could answer, a loud scream came from outside. Henry ran to the door and opened it. The tenants were gathered in the compound. Someone shouted, "It's Mr. Doyle." They all rushed toward his room. Mr. Doyle lay on the floor outside his door, holding his chest, shaking with fear. His face was pale. His voice cracked. I tried to get the money. She said she would throw me out, but then I saw something behind her house. The tenants gasped. Adamma stood behind the crowd, her cane silently tapping the earth. Tap. 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 Everyone turned. She smiled again. A long, cold smile. And that was when Lily whispered to her mother. Mama, it's her. She is hiding something. Something terrible. And this was only the beginning of the nightmare. Night came slowly over Riverbend, spreading across the compound like a heavy blanket. The moon rose behind thin clouds, and the trees whispered in the cold breeze. Tenants locked their doors early, whispering prayers and staying close to their children. After what happened to Mr. Doyle, nobody wanted to step outside. Fear sat in every corner like a quiet visitor. Inside their new room, Henry and Nora talked in low voices while Lily sat on the bed, staring at the window. Henry rubbed his forehead. I don't understand what that man saw. He looked terrified. Nora nodded. And Adamma, she didn't look surprised at all. Lily hugged her rabbit tightly. Mama, Papa. I don't want to stay here. Nora sat beside her and pulled her close. I know, my love. But let's give it a few days. Maybe things aren't. Lily sat frozen on her bed, staring at the window as the whisper grew louder. It called through the air like smoke, soft and cold, flowing under the door and around the room. Come. Come to the gate. Before she returns. Lily pulled her blanket close. The whisper did not sound like a human voice. It was too thin. Too hollow. Too far away, like something buried underground calling through layers of earth. She squeezed her eyes shut. Go away, she whispered. But the voice only laughed softly. A low, broken sound. Lily opened her eyes and nearly screamed. The shadow outside her window stretched upward like a tall figure standing in the moonlight, even though no one was outside. The door creaked open. Lily gasped. Mama. Papa. No answer. Instead, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Slow. Dragging. Heavy. She jumped from the bed and rushed to her parents' room. Mama. Nora woke instantly. Lily. What is it? Someone was calling me. From the backyard gate. Henry sat up too. Calling you? Who? Lily shook her head fast. I don't know. But the voice was inside the room. Henry got up quickly and walked to the window. He pushed the curtain aside and peered out. Then he stiffened. Nora whispered, What do you see? Henry's voice trembled. The gate, it's opening. Nora rushed to the window. The small wooden gate behind Adamma's house, rotten, broken, and always locked, was slowly creaking open, though the night was calm and the wind was still. The gate opened halfway. Then stopped. Like something was waiting behind it. Henry stepped back. We need to tell someone. Before he reached the door, there was a loud knock. 3 sharp hits. Henry froze. Nora held Lily close. The knock came again. Who's there? Henry called. A long silence. Then a familiar voice answered. It's me. Clara. Henry opened the door, relief washing over him. But Clara didn't step inside. She looked terrified. Her face was pale. Her eyes were wide and wild. You must come out, she whispered. Something is happening. The tenants are all outside. The family followed Clara into the compound. The night air felt colder than before. A strange smell, like wet earth mixed with smoke, floated around. Many tenants were gathered, staring toward the backyard. Some held lanterns. Others whispered prayers. Mr. Doyle stood trembling with a blanket over his shoulders. Timmy clung to his mother, crying softly. Henry whispered, "What is going on?" Clara pointed with a shaking hand. The gate opened by itself. Nobody touched it. Just then, the wooden boards of the gate creaked again. Okay. The gate opened a little wider. Tenants gasped and stepped back. A long, thin shadow slid out across the ground. It stretched like a rope in the moonlight. The shadow had a shape like a man crawling on all fours, reaching toward the light. Someone screamed. Mr. Doyle grabbed Clara's arm. That's what I saw. That's what I saw last night. Before anyone could move, the compound light switched on. Bright. Blinding. Cold. Adamma stood at the top of the steps again, dressed in a long black gown. Her eyes glowed strangely under the lights. What is happening here? She demanded. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Adamma walked slowly toward the backyard gate. Her cane tapped the ground with each step, sending little echoes into the night. Tap. 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 When she reached the open gate, she paused. Tenants hid behind each other, trembling as she rested her hand on the old wood. She did not look scared. In fact, she looked angry. Who opened this gate? She asked. There was silence. Then Henry stepped forward, his voice shaky. Madam, it opened on its own. Adamma turned around slowly, her expression sharp. Gates do not open by themselves. But this one did, Henry insisted. We saw it. Adamma's lips twitched as if she were forcing herself not to smile. Then she turned back to the gate and pushed it shut. Slam. She slid the old metal bolt across it. The bolt made a loud, screeching sound that sent chills through the tenants. Everyone go back inside, she commanded. It is late. And I do not appreciate being disturbed. The tenants hesitated. Go back inside. Her voice cracked like thunder. People ran into their rooms. Doors slammed. Curtains closed. The compound fell silent. Henry grabbed Lily's hand and hurried into their room with Nora. As soon as the door shut behind them, Lily whispered, "She's hiding something behind that gate. Something bad." Henry nodded, breathing heavily. I know. But Nora shook her head firmly. We cannot get involved. We are new here. It's dangerous. Lily whispered, Mama, that shadow, it wanted me. Nora hugged her tightly. You are safe with us, okay? Nobody will touch you. But Lily didn't feel safe. She felt washed. The whisper from earlier seemed to linger in her ears. And as she closed her eyes, she felt something else. A presence. Close. Too close. Henry checked the lock on the door again. He peered through the curtain one last time. Adamma was still in the compound, walking slowly around, tapping her cane on the ground, as if searching for something or someone. He quickly closed the curtain. But before the window was fully covered, Henry saw something that made his blood run cold. The backyard gate was open again, even though Adamma had just locked it. And this time, a pale hand was holding the edge of the gate. Waiting. Henry stood frozen at the window, heart thudding hard inside his chest. He blinked twice, hoping he imagined it. But the pale hand gripping the gate was still there, thin, bone-like, with long fingers curled around the old wood. He stepped back fast. Nora whispered, "Henry, what is it?" He grabbed her arm gently. "Nora, listen to me. Don't look. Don't go near the window." But Nora, already frightened by the tremble in his voice, slowly peeked through the curtain. She gasped softly and stepped back. "Is that a person's hand?" Henry swallowed. "I don't know. But Adamma locked that gate. We all saw it." Something opened it again. Lily whimpered, hugging her rabbit tight. "Mama, I don't like this place anymore." Nora held her close. "We will leave soon. I promise." But they didn't know that leaving the compound was not as simple as they thought. Because no tenant ever left without Adamma's permission. The night grew colder. The whispering started again, faint but clear. Come. Come to me." Henry covered Lily's ears. Nora closed the window and pulled down the curtain fully. Then she lit a small kerosene lamp and placed it near the bed. But the whisper didn't stop. It grew louder. It grew closer. And then, the bulb overhead flickered once, twice, and went completely dead. The entire building fell into darkness. Lily screamed. Nora hugged her tight. Henry grabbed the lamp and held it up. Outside, tenants shouted as their own lights went off too. Doors opened. Children cried. Clara's voice trembled in the corridor. "Why is this happening? Why is the light gone?" Someone else answered, "The meter box is fine. This is not normal." Henry opened his door slightly to check. That was when he saw her. Adamma. Standing at the far end of the hallway, not moving, not blinking, just staring into the darkness as though she could see perfectly fine. Even without light. Her pale eyes glowed faintly. Henry shut the door immediately. "She's outside," he whispered. "Watching." They all sat close together, not speaking, not breathing too loudly, waiting for the night to pass. But sleep didn't come. Fear kept them awake. Then, around 3 a.m., a soft knock sounded on their door. Henry jumped up. Nora shook her head wildly. "Don't open it. Please." The knock came again, softer this time. "Henry." "Nora. Are you there?" It was Clara's voice. Henry opened the door a crack. Clara slipped in quickly and shut it behind her. She looked terrified, her hair messy and her eyes watery. "I saw something," she said, voice shaking. "I saw it in the backyard. It was crawling out from behind the gate." Nora held Lily tightly. "What did you see?" Clara shivered. It looked like a man, but not a man. Long arms, thin legs, white skin like clay. And when Adamma came near it, it hid from her. Henry frowned. Hid from her. Meaning she wasn't controlling it. Clara shook her head. "I don't think she controls it. I think she fears it too." Silence filled the room as they processed this. Then Clara whispered the truth, words that made Nora clutch Lily even tighter. "I think that creature was once her husband." Henry stiffened. "What?" Clara nodded, tears gathering. "The police never found him. Not a body, not a clue. But every tenant knew something strange happened that night 5 years ago. The scream, the way Adamma acted afterward, the gate that stayed locked for months." Nora whispered, "You mean, she buried him?" Clara covered her face. "I think she tried to. But something kept him alive. Not alive like normal people. Alive in a different way." Henry felt a cold shiver crawl up his spine. "And he's still behind that gate?" Clara nodded. "She keeps him locked there. That's why she doesn't like noise. That's why she hates visitors. That's why she changes tenants quickly. She's hiding her husband." Lily whispered softly, "The shadow said he is trapped." Clara turned slowly to the child. You spoke to it?" Lily nodded. "It called me. It said I was brave. It said I could hear him." Clara grabbed Henry's arm. "The creature likes children. Please, you must protect her." Just then, a loud scream filled the compound. A man's voice. Terrified. Deep. "Help me. Somebody help me." Henry threw the door open and rushed outside. Tenants were running toward the backyard. Lanterns flickered everywhere. Clara followed closely behind. Nora picked up Lily and hurried out, heart pounding. When they reached the backyard, a horrifying sight met their eyes. Mr. Doyle was being dragged toward the gate by something unseen. He clawed at the dirt, screaming, his feet sliding backward as if a powerful hand was pulling him. Henry ran forward. "Grab him." A few men grabbed Mr. Doyle's arms, pulling with all their strength. Suddenly, a pale shape flickered behind the gate. A thin arm shot out, long, bony, shaking with hunger. It grabbed Mr. Doyle's leg. He screamed louder. "Let him go," Henry shouted. The men pulled harder. The creature pulled too. A battle of strength. Mr. Doyle shrieked, "Help me. Please." Then, a cane struck the ground. Hard. The compound shook. Adamma stood at the center of the yard, eyes blazing. "Stop this." The creature's arm froze. The men pulled Mr. Doyle free. He rolled away, crying, trembling uncontrollably. Adamma stepped toward the gate slowly. "You shouldn't come out," she whispered to the creature. But the creature pushed the gate wider, revealing half of its pale, twisted body. Tenants screamed and scattered. Henry grabbed his family. Clara ran after them. Behind them, Adamma shouted desperately, "No. You must stay inside. Don't cross the compound line." But the creature stepped out. For the first time in 5 years.
The day everything changed began with a strange silence over the village. It was the kind of silence that made birds stop mid-song and made mothers hold their children closer. No wind moved. No leaves danced. Even the goats behind the clay houses stood still, as if waiting for something. But Adamma did not notice this silence. She woke up early as usual, full of anger, full of plans, full of the confidence that she was unstoppable. Her white lace wrapper swayed behind her as she walked. She shouted at the servants. She screamed at a poor girl who came to sweep the front of her compound. She shouted at the sky like she owned it too. "Lazy people everywhere," she yelled. "If not that I pay you all, this village would collapse." She did not know that, on this particular morning, the earth was listening. She did not know that the spirits of Amu River were watching. And she did not know that the land she had stolen from others was tired of the tears that soaked into the soil, tired of the suffering of the villagers, tired of Adamma's wickedness. But the villagers had noticed the silence. Old Mama Ito, who lived at the edge of the dusty footpath, whispered, Today is not normal. Young boys walking to fetch water slowed their steps. Even Alex woke up early, his chest heavy, as if something had touched him in his dreams. And in the biggest shrine of the village, Elder Yuzo sat by the tall Iroko tree, rubbing his hands slowly. "The spirits are angry," he muttered. "Something must happen today." He was right. Everything started to unfold at noon. Adamma came out of her mansion, shouting again. Her voice carried across the village like a hungry thunderstorm. "Who parked this bicycle near my gate?" she screamed. "Do you people think this place is a market?" It was just a small bicycle, belonging to a little boy who came to visit his cousin. But Adamma did not care. She lifted the bicycle and threw it into the bush. The boy ran out, tears already forming. Sorry, Auntie, I didn't mean." "Shut up," Adamma barked. "Next time, tie the bicycle around your neck." The boy began crying loudly. And that was the moment the wind returned. But it was not the normal wind. It started softly, circling around her compound like something alive, like it had a message. Then it grew stronger, sweeping dust into the air, bending the trees, and forcing everyone to stop what they were doing. "What is happening?" Alex whispered. Even Adamma stepped back. The sky darkened suddenly. Clouds gathered faster than human eyes could follow, rolling over each other like angry waves. Thunder growled deep in the sky. Elder Yuzo rushed into the village square with his staff. "Everyone come out," he shouted. "The land is speaking." People came out of their houses, frightened. Children clung to their mothers. Young men stood ready. Women whispered prayers. Then the ground trembled. Not enough to break anything, but enough to warn. Enough to remind Adamma that land has memory. Enough to show her that the earth she mistreated was no longer silent. Adamma dropped the cane she carried. Her face turned pale. She looked around as if waiting for someone to rescue her. What is this?" she shouted over the wind. The ground shook again, not violently, but with purpose, like a heartbeat. It felt like the ancestors were knocking. Everyone turned toward her. There was no hiding now. Elder Yuzo stepped forward, his white beard shaking in the wind. "Adamma the Landlady," he said loudly, his voice carried by the storm. "You have taken from the poor. You have turned kindness into wickedness. You have made people cry on land that did nothing to you." Adamma opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her tongue felt heavy. Her knees felt weak. Elder Yuzo raised his staff. "The spirits of Amu River have sent a warning. Today is the day they demand truth." Suddenly, the wind stopped. Everything became quiet again. Too quiet. Then came the voice. It was not the voice of a human being. It came from the trees, from the soil, from the sky. "Return what you stole, or the land will return you." Adamma fell to the ground immediately, shaking. Tears rushed down her face. "Please, please, forgive me," she cried. "I didn't know, I didn't mean to." But she did mean to. And everyone knew it. The villagers stood around her, watching with mixed emotions, fear, shock, and something close to justice. Even Alex felt pity, but he knew this was the only way the land could heal. Adamma kept crying. "I will change. I will give back the land. I will treat everyone with respect. Please don't let the ground swallow me." She knelt in the center of the village square, begging like a child. Elder Yuzo looked at the sky. "Spirits of Amu River, do you accept her promise?" The breeze returned, gentle this time. It brushed across the village softly, like a mother's hand calming a frightened child. The voice did not return, which meant the promise was accepted, but it must be kept. From that day, Adamma became a different person. She returned every land document she had taken. She reduced all rents. She apologized to every family she had wronged. She opened her farmland for widows and the poor to plant crops. She even bought new bicycles for children. Her mansion no longer felt like a fortress of fear. Instead, people could walk past without shaking. And something beautiful happened too. The land stopped trembling. The sky returned to normal. The village began to flourish again. Alex became known as the boy who witnessed the day the land spoke back. He told the story to children under the moonlight. He told it with pride, with fear, and with respect because he knew the earth listens. And as for Adamma, she lived the rest of her life quietly, humbly, grateful that the land had warned her instead of taking her. The villagers forgave her slowly, and she earned their respect by her actions. The wicked landlady became a lesson, a living reminder that no one is greater than the land, and no one can mistreat others forever. The story of Adamma traveled far beyond the village, beyond the state, even beyond Nigeria. It became a tale people told on YouTube, in classrooms, in family gatherings. A tale that taught 3 important things: fear the spirits, respect the land, and never use power to crush the weak. The end.